Here's the side view is really bad. It's time to commence this journey. It's time to begin this weight loss. But I do think it's going to be very challenging.
So this was season 7. Jazz is going through, of course, we talk about the weight. Season 7 and 8 was like ridiculous with the weight gain. You know, Jazz goes through this thing. Jazz is saying, I know it's going to be hard and, you know, but, you know, basically on some like, I have to keep up with it. But then we know later on, Jazz comes back and says, not right now. And of course it was hard. Jazz has lost a significant amount of weight, you know, by now, but it is hard. And they tried to add this thing on in the show and kind of make it seem like Jazz was going to be able to lose all this weight on her own. But, and you know, guys, I always mess up. I go back and forth with the pronouns. It's not because I really believe that Jazz is a woman. Okay. It's just, I'm talking fast a little bit, but anyway, but Jazz definitely like needed some assistance, allegedly, in my opinion. We'll put it that way.
I used to be able to do.
All right, 2 out. It is 4-2.
So I feel like it's almost like motivation. It's time for me to change and do everything that I've been saying that I'm going to do.
Griffin, get third base, get third base.
Oh, no. You got it. There we go.
Yay!
So, you know, Jazz's friends are still helping Jazz out with that. So then they let, you know.
Side manner.
Yeah.
My nurse.
Yeah, I don't meet that many people who love being shirtless as much as I do.
I
So
always wanted to play skins as a kid, you know? And
So like, this is just right here. I kind of wanted to fast forward to these parts. I mean, these are very permanent decisions that are made here. And there's a lot that goes into this. I just feel like, you know, I mean, in your living room, whatever, but it is not a real existence. This person has to think, like, what is the point of doing this? Like, for real, for me, like, come on, like, let's be honest, okay? Oh, okay, I'm gonna live as a man. I'm a man, but you know, that is not the case. It's not the case. So what is this? What is this about? Like, because no matter what you do, I just feel like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, the end goal will not be reached. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what gets cut off, added on, put in backwards, frontwards. The end goal will not be reached. So it is still, again, this fraud, imposter living of your life, right? And that's how I like to break it down. Like, I don't even, because I could go into the whole religious aspect, not religious, spiritual aspect of it, because religion is a practice of life to make you closer to God. But like the spiritual aspect of it, of saying like, you know, God created man and woman, and so we know that, and that is my first argument, really. But I have to think about this for the person. I'm trying to personalize it for the person at least, and tell them like, you're not going to reach that ultimate goal. What got you to this point? And if we don't deal with it, because something gets you to this point, you don't just, then as much as they're trying to make it normal, something gets you to this point. So we need to talk about the root cause. And right now, Sanders.
Today was like a childhood dream lived out.
Yeah. I'm glad I got to be your teammate.
Yes. Since having top surgery, it's just an amazing feeling to go out and just feel the sweat pouring down my actual body, feeling the sun on my back, things that I've never really appreciated before, just completely saw them in a different light today.
Should have wore a sports bra for that kind of feeling, you know what I mean? Like, because later on in life, are you going to be satisfied that you did that? Are you going to be happy? Like, how many people feel like, oh, this is great, I'm glad that I did this? I mean, it has to be at some moment where you're like, I might have took this a little too far.
So, Grandma, what's going on with you in your car? I know you have an appointment, so I'm perfectly fine driving you around.
Somehow or other, when parking is tight and there's a pole hits me. And that's
A
happened.
pole hits you or you hit the pole?
No, at this point I say a pole hits me.
As long as I get to spend more time with you.
Well, that's the whole thing, is the quality of the time and that we have enough.
So that's,
Yeah.
this is Jazz's grandmother. And look, I want to be very clear. I don't want people to think that it is appropriate to just dislike. I'm trying not to use certain words on YouTube because they've been giving me a hard time. I don't know. To just dislike a person because of the struggle that they're going through. I think that it is a wonderful thing that Jazz's family has not turned their back on Jazz, especially since Mom Dukes gave Jazz this in the first place, right? So, like this is a whole unique situation. I don't think that you, but I don't think I'm not talking to you anymore. I can't tell people how to be in their personal life. Unless the person starts to be like getting really borderline and becoming like irate and just entitled and all of that, right? And, or it's hard for you to deal with, which of course totally understandable, totally understandable. I'm not telling anybody how to deal with this. What I'm saying is that I'm not promoting this whole thing of like just shun these people and don't talk to them and keep them moving. No, they do need somebody around but you keep it real with them. What you're doing is not going to help you in your future. You're lying to yourself about many things. You're going to be upset. You're worth it. God loves you. You don't have to do this. Have that kind of a conversation with them. But I don't believe in saying like, just if the person is saying like, I'm trying to come to you in peace, and then it's just like, just get away. But again, I understand that people have to deal with it accordingly, how they need to. But like I said, if you're around that person, don't let go of your own values. Like, you don't have to go along with this to get along. And if they can't respect the fact that you feel some type, not just feel some type of way, that you're telling them a compassionate truth, then yeah, okay, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you moved down here, so we could spend as much time as
I
possible.
know.
And I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because last year, when the media does get you on this, like they play these tricks. It's not necessarily tricks, right? But they do this thing where they get you worked up about something. And last year we were hearing a lot about this, right? And it's not that my values changed about it, where I'm like, oh, it's just media lies. Like, they're not really coming for the kids. They're like, no, they are. But I just, back then I was like, forget these, like I was a little bit harder in my like speech, in my rhetoric. And it was pretty tough. But again, that's not me promoting for you to just lay down and say, okay, whatever you say is right. But I guess I just never really looked at the balance of saying it's still okay to be around that person. Now, if you don't want to bring that person around your kids or something like that, I get it. But to keep it real with that person, because they're going to need that realistic voice, because everybody else around them is affirming their delusion.
Oh,
What I've learned most from my grandma is to have a good listening ear. She isn't always the one talking, but she's always listening.
looking at somebody and talking to somebody. It's a balance.
It is.
It's really a balance. You'll never learn anything if you never shut your mouth and listen, though.
Sometimes I wonder if Jazz is like really like Jazz is his facial expressions are just like, sometimes I wonder if it's really just that scripted and he can't get through it. The grandmother said the right thing. The problem with the grandmother is, though, that like grandma went along with this from the door. Like, it just did not seem like, because the grandma said it like, okay, this is what's happening. Okay, that's what we're gonna go with. And I just feel like you should have gave pushback to your daughter and been like, all he's doing is just playing with some dolls and stuff that you keep giving him. Did anybody have a real conversation with Jeanette?
Most from my grandma is to have a good listening ear. She isn't always the one talking, but she's always listening.
Looking at somebody and talking to somebody. It's a balance.
It is.
It's really a balance. You'll never learn anything if
See, it's I don't know. Like, is it, are we agreeing?
you never shut your mouth and listen, though.
I've been struggling with my weight for a while. I keep gaining and gaining weight, and now it's time for me to take steps in the right direction.
Why now, Jazz?
I want to go to college and just like feel free from my body. Like, my body's like a cage right now, and I feel on the inside like I'm a little bit broken. Like, my spirit has been shattered a little bit by all that I've been through.
Watching.
But what has Jazz been through? So to me, it's like Jazz has been through questioning the reality of this identity that was given to him. Because you can't say like, oh, I've been through a lot, like mobs of people were coming after me because I wanted to live the way I wanted to live. You are out there getting acclimates, trophies, everything, for being who you are, right? I've never seen a mob come after Jazz. And I can only imagine that if you guys are telling me that this is normal behavior, so I would think that Jazz is having a good time. Jazz is doing well, right? Maybe has a couple like little hiccups with regular, like, like life things, and sometimes sad when I want a boyfriend kind of thing, regular stuff that people go through, right? Because this is supposed to be normal. So what is it that Jazz is going through that's so bad? Well, all that I've been through, your mental struggles with reality, because you are looking at reality. There are times where Jazz is truthful. I bet you Jazz sounds so different in the house. I bet you Jazz really lets loose in the house. Probably just has the voice and spread legs and just like, man, sometimes I get tired of doing this. Like, mama's just like, because I wonder, like, what's going on?
Jazz explode in this eating department is very, very difficult. Both Jack and I have learned to just say nothing. We don't want to alienate her. We don't want to give her opinions. We're on the sidelines.
Have you ever struggled with your weight or no?
All my life.
We'll even stop it right there, right? So you hear what Grandma said? Both Jack and I have learned to basically stay silent. We're not saying anything. We're just going to be on the sidelines. That's huge. So how long has that been going on? So this is what they do. This is what they do. They lie to each other and they say that, like they make it seem like everything is okay. They don't say anything. Jazz has just ballooned and we're not saying anything. It is normal for Jazz to just balloon. No, it's not. Y'all know it's not. But the thing is, like, nobody's really addressing to why Jazz has ballooned. It's not just like, oh, Jazz is just eating out of depression. Jazz. So this was season 7. So I think it was season 6 when Jazz had the bottom procedure. So when you remove all those hormones plus everything else with the regime, the routine in the morning with certain, possible I'm trying to think, vitamins, because YouTube is really giving me a hard time. So they assist in that happening. You've taken this balance, the body lost the balance, the homeostasis. A lot happens with that. So I'm not shocked that a year later, however many months later, Jazz had ballooned. Like I said, I think I was transparent before in another episode. I had an ovary removed. When that happened, my body, like, it blew up and I had to figure out how to get it back under control. It's not easy to do. So this question of like Jazz ballooning, yes, it is also. And so it's like, I've been through a lot. I've been through a struggle. So when the gonads, you know what I mean? When they went away, yeah. Also the darkness that comes with a swift removal of hormones can make you in a bad place. It could really put you in a bad place all around. It can. So that's the reality of it. And so then that's the part that didn't make it to the show that we have to now infer, because these people are not honest about this whole process.